Hello, it's Tempest Willow, and I'm going to talk about day 2 of Wicca Year and a Day by Timothy Roderick. When I did this exercise originally on August the 25th or 26th, I had a few negative thoughts about some of the words. Some of the words held negative connotations. The word fear, confusion, disbelief, anxiety, negativity. There were a lot of, the negative feelings that came up with a few words because of inherent beliefs. I was raised in a Southern Baptist church and home. I live in the Bible Belt, and when you hear words, and these are his 9 words, like Wicca, witchcraft, power, ritual, magic, occult, pagan, spell, or earth religion, some of those words have very negative meanings when you're raised as a Christian, especially a Southern Baptist. Those words mean devil worshiper, sinner, in league with the devil. And I still had a few. I didn't realize that I still held a few of those beliefs because I just didn't really understand what the word meant. Once I read Mr. Roderick's definitions of those words and where those words originally came from, what those words originally meant, my mind did a flip, and I was like, oh, well, God, that makes so much sense. I was left with a little bit of fear, a little bit of negativity. Negativity was too long to write on the candle I had, so I just wrote fear, because that was one of the primary thoughts. Like when you think about occult, Satan worshippers, that things like that. So, and I wanted any fear that I had left over from my inherent beliefs that I grew up with. I wanted that gone, and that's gone. There are still a little bit of angst, though. I realized that in Wicca and most of the branches under the umbrella of paganism, that there's not even a belief in the devil and Satan. Yeah, fire and brimstone. But what there is left over is that the word occult still brings some negativity, still brings some confusion, because I'm trying to learn what everything means. But when I hear that word, for some reason, I still am thinking about cults. I'm still thinking about devil worshippers. I'm still thinking about people who summon demons. And I'm not talking about supernatural. Crowley can stay over there. I'm good right where I'm at. Not Team Crowley. I do like his character. He does do a jam up job with that character. And I've seen him in a lot of other things since I've been watching Supernatural. But anyway, and I really wish they'd have such a negative view of witches on Supernatural. Dean and Sam need to really work on that. I think the word that I'm probably going to write on tomorrow's candle will be angst, because I do have some angst left over about the word occult. The word ritual still gives me some anxiety, and that's simply because I don't want to screw up any rituals. I'm still new, so I still have a little bit of, we'll call it performance anxiety. When I thought of the word earth religion, I was thinking Native Americans. When I heard the word pagan, originally I was thinking hippies. The words, I think the biggest thing I kind of really wanted to talk about was how other people view those words, because I've come a long way in the last 6 or 7 weeks. I'm out of the broom closet a little bit. I'm not hiding in the broom closet. When I went to visit my parents, I had a pagan book and a Wicca book with me. I left them out on the counter. Anybody could have read and known when I was read the cover, and they would have known what I was reading about. I have come out of the broom closet with my aunt, with a friend, with my husband, my son and my daughter, several friends online, some friends who are actually subscribed to this channel and to my writer channel. Also realized that, I'm too old to really give a damn about what other people think. My spiritual path is my spiritual path, and if somebody doesn't like it, then, I mean, do they really want to know if I think that their spiritual path is right for them or right in general? I mean, does my opinion about their spiritual path matter to them? Because their opinion about my spiritual path isn't really going to matter to me. And put yourself in somebody else's shoes, you know? Another thing I think is that growing up in a Southern Baptist church with very Southern Christian relatives in the Bible Belt, that's a whole lot of inherent beliefs. And you don't unlearn all of those beliefs overnight. You don't rid yourself of, it's just like superstition. I mean, if you are superstitious, no matter what somebody tells you, if you step on that line, you're like, whatever, I'm not, or, you can dismiss it. You're still not going to step on the line. Still not going to step on the crack. It's just not going to happen. So when you grow up the way that I did with all of that, you're going to have some inherent beliefs. And I think one of the things that for me is keeping an open mind and going about it day by day and realizing that I'm going to have a lot of questions, but I'm following the path that feels true to me. I'm going to have thoughts, I'm going to have ideas, I'm going to have confusion, and that's okay, because that's why this is a learning process, and why I think they started like the year and a day studies, because you have to have time to learn and grow in your spiritual path. And it's not coming to you overnight. It's not going to happen in a month either. I've been studying this. I've been studying witchcraft and paganism for over a year, almost 2 years. I've been studying information about burning times in Scotland and other places in the Anne Salem witch trials. I've been studying cunning folk and wise women. I have done research on a lot of that because I was writing my book about, part of the backstory was an ancestor who was one of the cunning folk, a wise woman. She was the healer from her village, and she was burnt at the stake, and her husband saved their daughter by coming to the States, coming before it was the States, when it was still the colonies. That was part of my backstory, and I needed that background to kind of know, because if my character was going to be a hereditary witch, I needed to know what being a hereditary witch meant. And I don't just write about things from the cuff like that. I actually want it to be real, because the idea that came to me for my story was something that happened in real life. My grandmother, who was Wiccan, but she never talked about it. Her thing was a secret. Some secrets are better left a secret. That's why they're a secret. And she wouldn't tell us shit. I think that's because, part of it's, I think, because she knew my mom would freak the fuck out. But the other part is because my grandmother was just secretive. But my grandmother healed my cousin's warts off of his hand. And I've talked about this before. And I've talked about the fact that I saw and spoke with ghosts when I was a child. Still do, still see them, still hear them, can communicate with some, not all. I don't see them like they're a real person. I'm digressing again. But those were real things, and I wanted to make it based on things that I knew could be real. I wanted my book based on, even though it was going to be fiction, I wanted it to be based on some semblance of truth. I wanted it to be supernatural, but to be in the realm of this could be. This really could be, because there are real events that have happened. I didn't want it to be completely fiction. I mean, I'm not telling my grandmother's story at all. I'm not going to. There are a few things in the book that will be based on real, live, true events. Paternal line was cursed by a voodoo witch. That is truth. 7 generations worth of a curse. Like I said, and my paternal grandmother, now my paternal grandfather's family, his line was the one that was cursed. My paternal grandmother was a witch. She was a Wiccan. So I wanted it to be based on some real life events, like I said, that were true. And So I've been studying for a good while now, not this kind of study, not where I would actually perform rituals or spells or where I needed to know real like herbs. Like I could go on and online and pull up information about a love spell or pull up information about a protection spell and then jot it down, information, use bits and pieces of it because I am writing fiction, but make it real enough so that but I didn't have to make it completely. I mean, I had to write any of my own spells. I didn't have to, in my fiction. Now I'm going to be doing all of this and it's for me. And I realized that the more I researched, the more I felt like this was really my path, that it wasn't just about witchcraft. It was about a spiritual path for me. It wasn't about research so much anymore. It was about finding my way and being true to myself. So, what other people think, not really worried about it. Like I said, I'm, I guess, half in, half out of the broom closet. If people want to know and they ask, I'll tell them the truth. People don't ask, I'm not telling. Gonna do kind of like the military. Don't ask, don't tell. If you don't want to know the answer, don't ask the question. So that's it for me. I've actually talked way too long and went off random subjects, and that's it. So I'm out of here. Blessed be. Thank you for watching.